Bluestars Policy, Chapter 3, Part 2. As she moved on the other side of the barrier, the scents of the forest fluttered her mouth and nose. Leaves, earth, moth, prey. Flavors so rich she could taste them on her tongue. A wind stirred her whiskers untamed by the familiar sense of camp. It smelled strange and wild. All around Bluekit, rich leaf-fall hues dappled the forest like a tortoiseshell pelt. Bushes crowded the forest floor, shadow-like in the early light. Sunfall led her along a well-trodden path toward the foot of a slope so steep that Bluekit had to crane her neck to see the top. We're in the very heart of Thundercloud territory. He glanced upward, but there at the top of the ravine, the forest stretches to our borders on every side. Bluekit blinked. You climb up there? She searched the slope, trying to work out which route her clanmates used to find their way among the rocks and bushes that jutted out above them. This is the easiest path. Sunfall padded to a gap between two massive boulders, where stone and earth had crumbled into the slope. He bounded nimbly up at it and leaped onto one of the boulders. Looking down at Bluekit, he meowed. You try. Sorry. Bluekit padded tentatively to the bottom of the rockfall. It was easy to scrabble up for the first few tail ends, but the slope would suddenly steepened. So the slope suddenly steepened. Try saying that 3 times fast. The slope suddenly steepened, and her paws started to slip on the loose stone. Heart racing, she made a desperate leap toward the boulder where Sunfall waited, only just managing to claw her way up beside him. Feeling less than dignified, she shook out her fur. It gets easier with practice. Sunfall turned and led her along a muddy gully that weaved along the slope. It stopped at the bottom of another huge boulder. Bluekit stared in horror. Does he expect me to climb that? Sunfall was gazing up at the smooth rock surface. His eyes narrowed. Can you see the dents and holes where you might get a grip? As Bluekit scanned the rock, she started to notice chips and cracks in the stone. A dip in one side that would give her something to push against, a chink just above where she might get a claw hold, a useful grip in the rock beyond that. Would these small cracks be enough to let her scramble to the top? She waited for Sunfall to lead the way, but he motioned her upward with his muzzle. You go first, he meowed. I'll be right behind in case you slip. Bluekit unsheathed her claws. I won't slip. Crouching back on her haunches, she attempted to jump, her eyes fixed on the first tiny ledge where she might get a grip. Trembling with effort, she leaped and hooked a claw onto the chink, propelling herself upward and pushing against a dip in the rocks with her hind paws. She was amazed to find herself already at the next crack, grabbing hold, pushing upward again until, by some miracle, she found herself panting at the top. Peering down for the sheer rock, she saw Sunfall. He seemed small on the fourth floor below. Had she really jumped so far with just a couple of potholes? She was with the trees tops surrounding the camp. She could see right into the high branches where squirrels had campered and teased her all throughout Greenleaf. Great climb! Sunfall landed silently on the rock beside her. Which way now, do you think? Bluekit glanced behind her. Bushes and stunted trees jutting out, their roots twining through the rocky soil to hold them. Fast to the sheer slope, she spotted a steep but well-worn path which weaved around the trunk of a twisted hazel. That way, she mewed. Without waiting for a reply, she hurried along the track, following it as it steepened, turned back on itself, and began to snake between the boulders, studding the crest of the ravine. She was nearly at the top. The forest was only a few tail lengths away. Suddenly, her paws slipped. Panic shot through her like lightning as the earth beneath her claws crumbled, and she fell backward, sliding and skidding on her belly down the path. Scrabbling for a grip, she let out a wail. Something soft broke her fall. I've got you. Sunfall wriggled from underneath her and grasped her scruff to steady her. Lucas' heart thumped as she swung over the steep drop below. She felt for the ground, her legs shaking, and Sunfall let go as she regained her balance. Sorry, she mewed. I shouldn't have gone as fast. Sunfall flicked her ear gently with its tail. When you're bigger, and there's more strength in your hind legs, you can go this way. But for now, let's use that path instead. Lucas followed his gaze to a stony trail twining upward through a cluster of small rocks. She followed him along it, letting her paws steps far in behind it. A tail length from the top, the path ended in a sheer wall of rock that landed out above them. Lucas could smell the heavy scent of forest and see branch tips poking out high above the lip of the ravine. With one leap, Sunfall bounded up and over the edge. Lucas took a deep breath and jumped up, reaching with her forepaws to grasp the grassy cliff top, and began to haul herself over the edge. She caught sight of Sunfall leaning forward, his teeth heading for her scruff. I can do it! She puffed before he could grasp her. Her muscles burned with the effort as she dragged herself over the edge and flopped on the soft grass, panting. Well done! Sunfall congratulated her. Catching her breath, Bluestars glanced down the ravine. The camp was hardly visible beneath the treetops, and the clearing appeared as a pale splash beyond the auburn leaves. She twisted her head and looked into the forest. Bushes crowded the edges, and trees stretched away into shadow. Branches creaked and shuddered in the wind. An excited shiver ran down her pelt. Is that where the patrols hunt every day? She whispered. Sunfall nodded. You'll be going with them soon. I want to go with them now. Sunfall tensed suddenly. He was staring into the trees, eyes round. A moment later, they heard the echo of paw steps, pounding eerily from deep within the forest. They drew